I will tell you a story, my children, of an age before clocks measured time and before the great empires of men, when the world was green and soft with dreams, and all paths were open to the brave and strong of heart. There were born 3 souls whose entwined fate had already been woven upon the Earth Mother's loom. Orin of Fern Hollow was a thatcher's son, dark of hair and easy in manner. His days were full of honest toil, but by night he lay beneath the open sky and watched the stars with wonder. Though of low birth, he knew the language of the birds' songs, the whispers shared by moss as it creeps over stone, and the hissing of water upon leaf and sand. His bones were touched by the fey kind, the gift of moonlight upon an open mind. Far above him, in the carved stone halls of Shavar, lived Lady Arluna, noble-born, cloaked in silks and solitude. Hair like burnished copper and clear, far-seeing eyes, she was learned in the ancient texts and sacred chants of both the gods which are known to the people as well as those long forgotten. They called her Child of Vision, for she had the true dreams of things yet to come. Beyond both field and tower, on the edge of the old wood, lived Marjan the Maker, with a heart of heat which beat in time to the hammer's stroke. Smith and brewer, she forged blades and potions. Her fires she fed from the wood of the alder tree, and she stirred the kettles of her hearth with an elmwood spoon. She wore leathers gifted by the forest and braided elf rings in her hair. Her laugh rang out boldly and made the iron blush as she bent it upon the anvil. At twilight, near the summer zenith, Orin wandered into a far meadow where he beheld a ring of mushrooms, aglow with silver dew and foxfire. Entranced and innocent, he stepped within. Time stilled. A raven, black as storm skies, with bright piercing eyes, descended upon the ring and spoke to the transfixed boy in the old tongue of the forest. "Oh, warning," it cried, "the Hollow King wakes. His breath stirs the bones of the world. Beneath the roots he gathers shadows and lies. Seek the Myrtle Grove, thrice failed. Earth, fire, and star must walk as one, or the womb of the world shall bleed and bear fruit no more." Orin fled, trembling, to the safety of his home. At dawn he journeyed to seek counsel from the learned wise ones at Shavar. Laughter met his tale, which seemed a weak dream beneath the painted minarets of those vaulting halls. Only one listened, the Lady Arluna, who had the past 3 nights dreamt of a flame under bright stars and a humble boy with ash smudged upon his brow. She took him to a deep temple where the painted ceilings show the first sacred trinity in glory: Rahima of the womb, Sinea of the breast, and Astuan of the bone. There they found old texts whose glyphs told of the Underking, once a great sorcerer, now cursed, for he had warred and lost against the divine Trinity, and his soul sealed beneath the world. They rode to the old wood, looking for an omen to lead them to the Myrtle Grove, when they came upon the smoke of Marjan's forge. She too had seen omens from her fey friends. 3 red foxes dancing in a circle until they dropped of weariness. A hawk born fully fledged that aged and died before the setting sun, and sap, the color of dark wine, bleeding from the white birch bark tree. Hearing their tale, she joined the quest without pause, saying, "If the earth bleeds, so do I. I am as the flame which cannot stand idle in her dark hour. Follow me to the path, friends, for the wounds of the earth call me to heal them." The path of the Myrtle Grove lay beyond any borders drawn on maps, in the lands past the shifting sands. Once past the heat of the world's forge, they beheld a strange jungle where fairy paths twisted through time and the beasts spoke not in the old tongue, but as men. The first trial in those jungles came beneath shadowed veil which seduced with its beauty. A silver-tongued stag, noble in word and bearing, spoke to them and convinced them that the world already knew peace, and promised rest for the people. They had been led astray by old myths and should turn back. Though two were lulled by his words, our Luna knew the chant of the silver stars. She unmasked the false creature, whose fair visage twisted into a nightmare djinn, a demon that feeds on cowardice. Her voice of truth rang clear, and it fled. The second trial arose in the form of a bridge, carved of bleached white bone, the only crossing for 100 miles. Beneath it, a haunted river coursed with swift anger and wailed with the voices of 1,000 drowned souls that cut into the mind with despair. But though the others wept, Marjan's iron-shod boots held firm, and from her hand a draught of yew freed the spirits captured there, who passed on to eternity with a cry of gratitude and hope. The third trial appeared before them in a sunlit glade, where the three were tempted by visions of those loves that had been lost to them. Yet as his mother reached forward, Orin, who knew the secret speech of birds, the first language of true love, did not hear it ring from her lips, as once he had. Instead of embracing her, he knelt and kissed the earth, whispering, "I serve life, not illusion." And so the visions dissolved into motes of dust. They reached the Myrtle Grove on the night of the thrice full moon. The ground pulsed with a rhythm older than the first heartbeat. A wind swept down upon them. Three visions spoke with voices that did not wail, but suffused them with an inner knowledge. Rahima spoke in the marrow. "You are wombs of power, whether you bear children or dreams." Sinea whispered in the breast, "Love is not soft. It is flame that endures and delivers from the storm." Ostuan echoed in the skull, "Wisdom is in the bones, given to you by your foremothers. Hear them." Under roots as thick as dragon bones, the land beneath them yawned open. A spiraling staircase of obsidian led them down into the hot heart of the world. The air smelled of soot and sorrow and pressed upon them with ancient memories. Hands clasped together in courage, the three descended into the dark chasm. They came, at last, to a wide chamber carved from the glittering rock of a dead volcano, and saw, looming there, the throne of the ash tree, and upon it the Underking. The throne was fashioned from the broken wombs of the world, twisted roots, bleached bones, and dry, cracked stones that had once wept water. Upon his head, a crown of thorns and teeth, and a cloak that enveloped with a darkness so profound that it ate the surrounding light. The great bulk of the Underking rose, voice booming like the collapsing of a mountain. "You have come to stop me, little fire, little star, little dirt boy. The world is mine and will always return to me. I will silence the womb. I will chain the breast. I will grind the bones to dust." The Underking lifted his head, and with it rose shadows, demons made of black smoke, writhing, snarling beasts shaped from lost hope, broken promises, and betrayals. Yet the trio stood firm. Marjan, the fearless, flung her myrtle elixir across the ground. It erupted, blue flame forming a circle of truth. Our Luna raised her arms and sang, her voice weaving a net of starlight and memory. Orin stepped forward, holding the blade, not to strike, but to shine, for his was a sword of sincerity, not war. The Underking laughed until the steady fire licked his feet, and the net drew down to press upon his brow. His form began to unravel as his shadow demons fled with a terrible howl from the piercing light of the sword. Orin's voice, small and steady, spoke. "You cannot undo what was made with love." Arjuna's words rang forth as part of her song. "You cannot curse what was born of care." Marjan placed her hands upon both of their shoulders with a steady, sure finality. "You are not lord nor king, not anymore." Bolstered, Orin stepped forward through fire and light, his blade humming now, the last wish of the fallen star from which it was forged. With both hands he pressed it to the Underking's chest, not to wound, but to reveal. And lo, what spilled forth was not blood, but sorrow, a great pouring out of pain. A boy unloved, a man unchosen, a king denied wisdom by fear. The dark form, built of hurt, now twisted to hate, unraveled like so much rotten thread. He crumbled beneath the night cloak, his crown fell and cracked, his throne's roots curled back to the earth, seeking soil. And in that moment, the chamber began to bloom. The walls pulsed with color, the floor softened into moss. The myrtle roots reached down through the earth, bringing honey-colored light from above and drinking in the power of the riotous flowering below. The Underking, who was king no more, whispered one last time, "I wanted to be remembered." Our Luna answered gently, "Then be remembered as the one who let go." With a long sigh, his shadow faded like smoke upon the wind. The stairway had gone, but great winding vines now drooped from above. The trio climbed together, hands stained with ash and myrtle sap, eyes glistening. When they emerged from the earth, the myrtle grove surrounded them in full bloom, heavy white petals and dark berries pulling down the branches in sweeping boughs of thanks. The air still shimmered with magic. Animals came then to the blessed place. Foxes with golden eyes, cavorting and leaping, birds with colorful plumage who sang them a cheerful pavan, and all other manner of forest creatures gathered for a feast of plants and sweet things. All were friends in the sacred grove. Even the plants and trees moved in time with the music. The Earth Mothers appeared one final time, now soft in power, not gods, but great-grandmothers who stooped to pet and scratch the ecstatic wild creatures. Warm and wise, they pressed a blessing onto each of their 3 champions. To our Luna, they gave the clear sight to guide lost souls. To Marjan, the eternal flame, to pass to daughters and apprentices. To Orin, the seed of hope, that what sprung from his hands and words would spread peace. And so began a new age. Our Luna remained in the Myrtle Grove, where she built a school to teach the ways of the stars and of healing. People came from the far lands to hear her wisdom, and the towers of teaching still stand there at the heart of the world. Marjan returned to her forge, crafting storied blades, jewels of power and legend, and cups that never emptied when shared in kindness. The Fakin themselves bowed before her to receive the works of her hands. Orin went back to Fern Hollow, where he planted myrtle saplings from the sacred grove along the riverbanks. He married a healer and raised 3 daughters who could speak to the sparrows and charm bees from the hive. And every year on the night of the summer zenith, Orin would gather the village children. They'd sit by the fire and sip their milk, and he would tell them the story of the Ash King and how 3 friends, bound by love and courage, changed the world. And always he ended like this. The Earth Mothers know you, for you are made of stars and soil. You are never alone. Even in shadows you are seen, for their gifts are eternal, and they will always remember you. So now, dear one, close your eyes. The fox watches the door. The nightingale hums. The myrtle blossoms scent the wind. You are safe now, and you are loved. Sleep, little soul. The earth holds you.